Today, I am joined by Garrett Hedlund, who you know from projects such as Four Brothers, Tron, Legacy, Triple Frontier, and his new film, Absence of Eden, which hits theaters on April 12th. Thank you for your time today, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks. First of all, congrats on the film. This was interesting, man. It was gripping plot, intense acting, gorgeously shot. I thought it was like a Sicario with a twisted love story, which is pretty high praise as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I thank you. Yeah, look,
Um,
that's Marco. He's an artist. He's a poet, and I feel like every single frame in this film, he had such a glorious. Uh, there was intention and meaning and books worth of meaning behind every frame, and that's what's beautiful about Marco.
Well, you could tell. And that leads me to what I want to ask. This is his first feature, and I'm curious, as a star yourself, how you sort of weigh up the risk of starring in somebody whose work you have not seen before, and how you come to the choice to star in said film.
Well, there's look, I've known Marco for quite some time. Him and Zoe have been dear friends for a very long time. Uh, there's a trust, and look, even if it wasn't Marco, first-time film directors, everybody's got to have a start. Everybody's got to have a place to be able to showcase all their hunger, determination, drive. Uh, that hunger is absolutely infectious. It's revitalizing to come across somebody that is so creatively and artistically driven that all they want to do is express. Like, man, when you come across that, it's hold on to it. And that's the epitome of what Marco is. Um, um, it's essential, for us for me to be around somebody so just passionately and poetically driven, not only with film, with painting, with sculpture, but with life.
Hmm. So I always like to ask this when the star rocks notable facial hair. The stash. Do you have any input on that? Like, how do you come down to doing that style of stash?
Well, I'm very happy you asked this question. When it's that's all that's first. There's a handbook on this. There's a rule book. There's a rule book of the cans and cannot do of facial hair when you're in, you know, when you're in when you work for the law and
Hmm.
certain forms. And so, look, Marco won the stash. He got the stash.
All right, that's the
That
one
was look.
joke
I'll say though, I was glad I did too because
you
it's
rocked the hell out of it, man.
look,
You rocked it.
it's beautiful when I don't I don't know if I'd done one thing that had a stash prior to that. Mudbound, I had a
Hmm.
stash. It was a glued on stash. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but that one was in the absence of Eden. This this genuinely was a beautiful moment. When I was sitting in the trailer, I think I took a picture and I wondered what was so ironic about the photo. And I looked at it and I said, man, this is one of the first times that I so powerfully and genuinely saw my father in it. My father, he was a big mustache man. Always had the mustache, at least when he was younger, kind of maybe around, specifically the age I was when we shot this. So for me, it was, I felt like I was looking at my father with that stash and
And
that.
how does that make you feel? Do you feel scared of that fact? Like, fuck, I'm my old man now, or is there a sense of pride? Like, how's that feel to you?
Um, uh, no, pride, connection,
Mm,
made me smile
yeah.
wonderfully. Yeah, brought back memories I'd missed, and yeah. So, look, I know you got a little something growing down here,
Hmm.
but if having a stash could do that for me, God only knows what it could do for you.
I've been telling my dad to grow out his beard. He's not having it. All right,
Yeah.
let's get down to something real. What separates this role from sort of the stereotype Southern lawman that you're used to seeing in film, and why did that appeal to you?
Well, he's a particular guy. It's this one, the character, as written was, a man trying to find his footing, find his ground in life. He hadn't been dealt the best of cards. He had a complex and distorted sort of past and distorted definition of family. So he's trying to find a path in the woods. In landing this job, he's now sort of confronted with fears he never really realized he was going to be confronted with. But then he's dealing with this sort of tug of war between land, being a man, love, and the law, and having to really get introspective and really use his sort of moral compass to make sense of all this. And that's something I wanted to play with, especially with Marco, especially with Zoe.
You've played tons of heroes before, but what were the challenges of playing one that's insanely realistic, but also one that inhabits a controversial job?
I never really saw him as a hero at all.
Interesting.
I saw him as somebody that perhaps his job was asking him to put on a cape and he was potentially being confronted with the questions of shit. Does he, if he has to go through all this, does he really want to fly? But is this even flight? What are the powers that he's been granted in the first place? And really makes him ask these questions. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
You're asked to do some intense performance in this. Some of which is physical, some of which is very emotional, both anger and sadness. Are you all tapping into the same space when you're trying to G yourself up for those type of scenes? Or is it coming from a different part of you? Like I'm thinking of the scene where, and not to try to spoil too much, where you get into quite a tussle and your partner needs to act quick. And then there's one in the hotel room. Those are both similar level of intensities, but different feelings.
Yeah. And they could be, both the first scenes of the day right off the bat, No, I just look, I'm one that when you're dealing with a script like this, a character like this, a subject matter such as this, my first instinct, my first question is how do we make it the most realistic as possible? How do we make it the most honest as possible, the most convincing that the audience is watching, a documentary? How do we do that? Then if we do everything the script asked, or our intuitions or instincts told us to do, or everything we desired, how can we flip the switch and surprise in a way and make something happen nobody saw coming, make something that, throw a curveball into the mix? I don't know. It's just how I work. I'm always trying to make something, more or the most it could be, or take it all the way down to less and less and less. I guess I just want to make somebody, feel, perhaps be moved or perhaps relate. And so that comes with a great deal of feeling it a lot yourself. And just going there. And luckily on this film, we had wonderful artists that go there as well. With Zoe, I feel both of us work in a very similar manner
Oh,
that
she's throwing high heat in this one.
we can, go as ballistic and sadomasochistic as one could, and and take it down to a complete whisper. We like to dance that way. That's why I wanted to work with her on this. That's why I was so great to. That's why I was it was so great to be a part of this. When you work with artists, you get to learn ballet every
Mm.
a new sort of ballet every film.
So I have got a bit of a selfish one here. In Tron, you got to work with one of my all-time favorites in Jeff Bridges. He is one of the living icons in your lineup. Well, is
Yeah.
that his voice? Is that his laugh?
No, yeah, go on, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, what's the first thing that pops into your head from your time with Jeff?
Oh man, that I'd never came across somebody that felt like so much of a long lost brother to
Wow.
myself. A companion, a student of life, a co-pilot, passionate about music, film, and what makes people and things and tunes and everything tick. Um, he's he's I, I I said this the other day, and I was wondering why it's never been on a T-shirt, but Jeff Bridges is a way of life.
I love that, dude. I love that. He is. He is, man. That is so great to hear you say that it seems like he is in real life the way that he comes across on
Yeah,
screen.
his love for life, family, and art is absolutely infectious and astonishing, and you want to be around it and you want to collaborate with it. It's and even if we take it back to old Marco, very similar.
Hmm.
Joey, very similar, you know. Yeah.
And then I just got one more for you in that sense. The
Bring
cast
it on.
of
We can go all day.
I wish, tell them in the background. Um, Triple Frontier, A-list stars out the wazoo. I know that you and Charlie are still boys, it seems like. What was the dynamic of that like? Because I have a hard time thinking of such a sort of elite cast of like classic leading men in one film, and I could only imagine what it was like to be part of that.
Um, it was yeah, that was another wonderful situation. Charlie and I, we'd been looking for a film to do together. We'd been friends for what we shot then, 2018, shit, time's passing. We'd been friends for like 15 years at
Hmm.
that point, trying to figure out a film to do together. Oscar and I, that was our third film together, so
Right. Llewyn Davis, that,
this
and what's the third one?
Mojave. Yeah.
Mojave. Okay.
This, you know, that's like the perks of the job to be in this and get to work with pals and go explore, to go see the world, play some fun characters, be on screen, perhaps, share with your family. Oscar just had a child at that point.
Wow.
It's beautiful, beautiful location, wonderful JC, wonderful director, wonderful team, Netflix, beautiful team.
I rewatched it today. That's a fucking sick movie. Sick movie.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Oh,
Garrett, I've got to wrap here. Congrats. This is sick as well. I hope people go out and see it because I really enjoyed it.
brother man, appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Cheers.